He's on a mission to redefine marriage, taking us from this to this. But the words you'll hear are not anything goes, but equal rights for all. They're fighting words for Tim Gill, but don't expect to hear from him.
Tim Gill is stealth. He's under the radar. When he goes after a candidate and targets a candidate, he doesn't make homosexuality the issue. He picks something else because he knows the issue of homosexuality is still risky among the electorate.
A Colorado native, Gill still calls Denver home. He made his millions in the 80s and 90s as the founder of publishing software giant Quark. But in 2000, he moved to full-time philanthropy. Gill favors giving to mainstream charities like the Denver Aquarium. He ties the money to so-called non-discrimination policies and establishes himself as a community pillar. But it's in the area of politics where his giving is starting to get the most attention.
His strategy is to go after the young, up-and-coming conservatives, to knock them out early, and to send a message of intimidation and fear to other conservatives.
Gill's giving to candidates and causes began in 2000. It reportedly started with $300,000, then $800,000 in 2002, and a whopping $5 million in 2004. But unlike so many other big-time political donors, Gill focuses almost exclusively on state and local races, believing public policy starts from the ground up.
One of Gill's more recent targets was Ray Martinez of Fort Collins, Colorado. As the Republican mayor of this city and heavily Republican area, Martinez thought he had a great shot at winning a state Senate seat.
The odds looked very good. The pollings that we saw were very favorable.
But in the last few weeks of the campaign, Martinez got hit with an avalanche of media attacking his personal character and pro-life stance.
We didn't know who was funding that. We heard rumors of it, but we could never find their names, and we couldn't expose those because it was buried in the, barrage of paperwork.
Martinez had raised over $300,000, more than enough, he thought, to win Fort Collins. But Gill and various associates had poured close to $1 million into the race through 527 political organizations. By taking out Martinez and other Republicans, Gill helped Democrats seize control of Colorado's State House for the first time in 30 years. The payoff? A slew of gay-friendly laws that redefine the family in Colorado. Today, pro-family lawmakers in the Rocky Mountain state say the Gill factor is impossible to ignore.
It puts extreme amounts of pressure on people who are trying to make a living at work and trying to raise money for a campaign who don't have deep pockets.
In 2005, Gill started the Gill Action Fund. Located in this nondescript D.C. office building, the fund's mission is securing equal opportunity for all people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender expression. The next year, the fund's success rocked the political world. According to several published reports, it orchestrated donations worth $15 million to Gill's favored candidates and causes. The payoff this time: wins in 50 of 70 targeted campaigns and power changes in the state chambers of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Washington, and Iowa. Gill took out Iowa House Speaker Danny Carroll with one of his favorite stealth tactics: small checks from Gill and friends around the country. Carroll never knew what hit him. Today, Gill's no secret in the gay world. Out magazine just named him the 5th most influential gay in the country. But Gill, his spokesperson, and big-time gay rights organizations all refused requests from CBN News to talk about Gill. Perhaps because Gill fears the spotlight could hurt his current plans. Gill did tell Atlantic Monthly that he has an even larger target list in 2008. CBN News found that the New York State House is one of those targets. Last fall, according to the New York Attorney General's office, Gill gave $50,000 to the New York State Senate Democratic Campaign Committee.
It doesn't take much, and a few $1,000s in a state race can make a huge difference.
Why did Gill pick New York? For starters, the Empire State teeters on the brink of legalizing same-sex marriage. The House has already passed a bill, and lawmakers agree if Democrats can pick up just one more Senate seat and take control of that chamber, same-sex marriage will pass.
As far as the strategy, I think it's brilliant, for him to be able to take and to move away from what is so costly at the federal level. He rightly recognizes that many of the battles are being fought at the state level. And so by trying to tip just a few races at the state level, he can make a huge impact.
Perhaps one of Gill's smartest strategies is staying behind the scenes. Here in Albany, we've had a hard time finding a lawmaker who knows his name, let alone anything about his influence.
Have you heard of a gay rights activist from Colorado named Tim Gill?
No, I have not.
Are you aware of his influence at all in New York?
I haven't seen it in New York.
Even the hard-charging Senate Majority Leader Joseph Bruno, who stands to lose the most, knew little, at least before CBN News alerted him.
CBN News doing a story on gay rights activist Tim Gill of Colorado. Can you tell me, are you aware of his influence in the state Senate?
I am not intimately aware, no.
But Bruno is promising a fight.
We're not going to be influenced by pressure from people from out of state, especially, just trying to jam and ram legislation through the legislature with dollars.
Across the country in Colorado, State Republican Chair Dick Wadhams insists that pro-family issues can and should win the day.
There is a myth in politics that the person who spends the most money always wins.
But for many pro-family advocates, Gill's multi-millions make it a David and Goliath fight.
We don't have an evangelical, a Christian conservative, Tim Gill, that has stepped forward.
It's ironic that Gill himself uses spiritual language to define his detractors. In Atlantic Monthly, he called his opponents the forces of darkness. It's a warning, say his observers.
They are not shy about saying that every dollar they spend is with the goal of what they call punishing the wicked. And the wicked are anyone who has a moral or biblical opposition or concern about homosexuality.
From their Denver office to Washington, D.C., Gill and Associates are mapping the country, looking for the key 08 races that could flip State House chambers and ultimately the way the country views sexuality and the family. Heather Sells, CBN News.